Сега в началото на 21 век сме свидетели на друго явление. This is me, in a normal working day, a reporter in Greece. For 8 years, I have covered stories about Greek life at home and abroad. In New York, it was easy. The traces of the Greeks were everywhere. The difficulty began in Maine. According to 2000 US Census, 96.4% of the people in Maine are Anglo-Saxons. It's really hard to find any foreigners, including Greeks. So my quest began. When you are looking for Greek people, the first thing you should do is to go to a Greek restaurant.
My stepfather is the one that opened it.
It was his idea.
Right, yeah. Mm-hmm. He's in Greece right now. He's in Carboneses. That's where that mural is a picture of.
You personally, have you been to Greece?
No, I haven't. I'd love to go. So, here it's very, very nice.
I'd say probably like once a week someone will come in and tell me that they're Greek and ask me questions if I am.
And they order mainly gyros.
Yes, yeah. That's like one of the main things we sell. Everybody likes those.
We had the traditional Greek lunch there, but found no Greeks. As the time was running out, I was desperate.
She's having a really hard time finding anybody. At this point, we'll take like second generation Greeks, third generation, honestly, anybody who's like, has a friend that's Greek.
So I decided to take action. While I was waiting for someone to call, I went to the Rockland Public Library and searched its archives. I even talked to the Maine state historian, Earl Shettleworth, who is an expert in the Greek architecture.
All over the country, for a period of 20 to 30 years, the Greek style of architecture was the most popular style of architecture. A lot of times the Greek style architecture was used for public buildings, for courthouses, for city halls, for state houses, where government took place.
With no calls coming from the posters, I turned to the church, the second best place to find Greeks.
When they came to the crowd, a man approached Jesus and knelt before him.
The family legend has it that the reason why my grandfather came or decided to come to the United States was that he had been shot by the Turks, he had been shot by the Bulgarians, and when the Greek Civil War broke out, he was not going to be shot by his own countrymen. And so he left and came to the States. On Sundays, I would then attend the Orthodox Church with my family, and I always felt that that was much more of my community as opposed to the town that I lived in. And so that was really, I think that sense of security and just the pervasive emotion and good feeling that existed in the church really was something that I carried forward. My hunger and my thirst for what the Orthodox call theosis, the union of the human with God, is genuine. When I got to being 18 and I began to philosophically question, why what I was doing there, and I really kind of arrogantly thought that this was a community that I could pick and choose to either be a part of or not. And so I went off into other directions. And I went on to then practice Buddhism for 20 years. And then after that, found myself here in Maine. Like Alexander the Great, when he got to India, he'd reached ocean and it was time to head home. And I feel that when I finally reaching Maine, that now was time for me to start actually going home. And so for the last few years, even though I'm involved in another church and take responsibility, as a deacon in that church, my heart has been tugging me to return and to connect with, the Orthodox Church here in Maine. Not surprisingly, Maine is the least diverse of the 50 American states. There are very few African American people here. There are very few Latin American or Hispanic people here. There are very few Asian people here. And so, being Greek here is actually seemingly something that's, something special.
And then suddenly we were lucky.
Maria, I found a Greek.
He's still there.
I think so, yeah. She says she knows where there's other Greeks. Let's go talk to her.
It's very strange to be Greek in a New England culture, too.
Right, it is. And what do you do here? What do you work?
I'm an aquatherapist. I actually do Zen Shiatsu in 98-degree water. Yeah, it's yeah. I have an acupuncture background, so. My mother actually was in an arranged marriage. She came to the United States when she was 16 and married my father, who was 28. But she didn't even know that until she arrived. When she got to New York City, she found out she was marrying him.
Okay.
When I turned 17 and met my former husband, I started coming to Maine. And I did that for 15 years, and the past 15 years, I've been living here all year round. I raised my kids here.
Do your children speak Greek?
No. No. And sadly, actually, I sort of wish that, in a way, I could have raised them a little more in that culture, but I didn't.
Meeting George and Kyriaki was fun, but their Greek identity was pale. I wanted something more, and I found it in a place I least expected. In Greece, he says that he is 51% Greek and 49% American. In America, he says he is 51% American and 49% Greek. In Maine media workshops, Constantine Manos is known as a remarkable photographer.
I'm still, like an amateur. I'm still like a beginner. I'm very enthusiastic. I don't do any assignments anymore. I don't work for money. I just work for my pictures.
And finally, I met somebody with whom I could speak Greek.
Περίεργο. Ναι, δεν είναι. Οι γονείς μου γεννηθήκαν στη Νέα Υόρκη. Και γι' αυτό μιλάμε για γιαγιάδες και παππούδες, ήρθαν από τη Λίμνο, η οικογένεια της μάνας μου, από τη πόλη, όχι, από τη Σμύρνα, η οικογένεια του πατέρα μου.
Bill preserves his cultural heritage, but he has one big disadvantage. He is not from Maine. So, after 4 weeks in Maine, my quest came to its end.
What did I learn from it? I'll tell you what. Don't look for Greeks in Maine. За BTV новините от Рокпорт, Maine, Мария Спасова.